Hello class, my name is Sean Kiley, and I'm going to be going over Ireland's debt and clearing corporation. So as many of you already know, debt is a distribution of bonds from an issuer to an investor. These bond issues go through a government agency at first, and then can go to a settlement service. For the second half of this video, I'm going to be talking about clearing, which is the post-trade execution and pre-settlement of assigning responsibility of that settlement. Now, as you can see to right next to me on the screen, um, I have the NTMA website. The NTMA stands for National Treasury Management Agency. This is pretty much like the equivalent of the U.S. Treasury. It handles assets and liabilities of the Irish government, and it manages its debt. It distributes bonds through a primary dealer network, and it designates fixed rate benchmark bonds and key maturities. On a similar note, Ireland's central bank, curiously enough, does not any longer have any of its settled government bonds in the country in itself, but instead it has it in a international securities depository since a decade ago, since the year 2000. It still has control over these bonds, but it benefits a lot from having it in this international depository. It helps because there's a lot less cost involved from its structure, and there's a lot more liquidity available to investors from its location. Alright, next I'm going to be going over two ways that bonds and equities are cleared. The first is when I go to the next tab over here, by looking at the Euroclear Group, is the world's largest provider of domestic and cross-border settlements and related services for bond, equity, fund, and derivative transactions. It settles over 180 million transactions a year in over 30 different currencies, and they have clients in more than 90 countries. Another big fact to look at is a little bit further down here, in which the securities transactions settled by the Euroclear Group is over 500 trillion euros. This is a pretty considerable amount from this 180 million transactions, because not only is 500 trillion euros a big deal, but that translates into approximately $500 trillion, which is a pretty sizable amount. And another way we can look at bonds and equities being cleared is I'm going to go one more tab over to EuroCCP. What EuroCCP stands for is the European Central Control Party Limited, which is the subsidiary of the Deposit Trust Clearing Corporation, otherwise known as the DTCC. The DTCC is the world's largest post-trade financial services company, and came to be by bringing together both the Depository Trust Company and the National Securities Clearing Corporation. All in all, the way that Ireland handles its debt and clearing is really not too much different from America. Two major differences between the two is that Ireland is a great deal smaller than America, and it also handles its debt and clearing along with other European countries within the European Union Eurozone. So even though it's around the same size with the Eurozone and all the other European countries, those are the two ways that it's pretty much different from the U.S. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.